Hello, this is Richa. Welcome to the first episode of our journey to the world of Proverbs.
They are musical, direct, frank, and witty. They are the world's smallest literary genre. They represent a fascinating cultural history. They are the Proverbs. They reflect on ways of seeing life. They are life themselves. The Proverbs are not just the wisdom imparted by King Solomon in the Bible or the clever sayings of sage Confucius. They are common to almost all cultures, whether ancient or modern, literate or non-literate. In fact, in societies with rich oral traditions, proverbs are used by orators to impress their audience through quotes from this traditional repository. To quote a proverb in a statement is a safe way of criticizing, mocking, or even insulting someone or something in an indirect, artful manner. Therefore, they form very much a part of the art of rhetoric. The proverbs have been appreciated and admired over the ages. We don't know when they were formed or their age and their currency. They have been passed on over the centuries mainly through oral traditions. They have also been written down, so they have been preserved both in oral as well as written forms. According to the Dutch scholar Minneke Schipper, in her fascinating book, Never Marry a Woman with Big Feet, Women in Proverbs from Around the World, the oldest written examples of proverbs date back to circa 2600 to 2550 BCE in the form of Sumerian proverbs inscribed on clay tablets, which were only discovered in 1963, about 150 kilometers southeast of Baghdad. Of course, their oral traditions must be much older. Another book that has fascinated me is John R. Stone's The Routledge Book of World Proverbs, in which the author talks about how the ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle had gathered his own collection of ancient proverbs and called them fragments of an elder wisdom. Proverbs have charmed many a people across centuries, for they draw upon and reflect the human experiences that are shared across time and space. The English philosopher and statesman of the early modern era, Sir Francis Bacon, had noted that the genius, wit, and spirit of a nation are discovered in its proverbs. The 19th century philologist and Orientalist Max Muller had said that the proverbs bear the impress of the early days of mankind. The proverbs have also figured in the works of writers. For example, the most influential work of literature, often labeled the first modern novel, Don Quixote, written by the Spanish Miguel de Cervantes, is a case in point. In fact, after Cervantes, the Spanish began to describe the proverb as a short sentence based on long experience. The Dutch called it the daughter of daily experience, and the Arabs said that a proverb is to speech what salt is to food. Even though these miniature portraits of humankind have distinct cultural characteristics, they have been shaped by cultural confluences. One can find Greek and Roman proverbs throughout Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East, French and Dutch proverbs in Asia and Africa, Spanish and Portuguese proverbs in the Philippines and the New World, and of course English proverbs in India, China, and America. While the Chinese merchants and European explorers were influenced by the cultures they traded with or colonized, and vice versa, the immigrants traveling to the United States in the 19th and 20th centuries brought with them their customs, folk wisdom, as well as proverbs. There are also multiple versions of the same proverbs across cultures. As an example, for the English, love is blind. And for the Mexicans, love is blind but not the neighbors. Or for the Japanese, a man in love mistakes a pimple for a dimple. There are pearls of wisdom in each of these proverbs. There are two Yiddish proverbs that say almost the same thing. Love is sweet but tastes best with bread. Or love is like butter, it goes well with bread. According to Elwell Sutton, some proverbs across cultures may have a common meaning, but as they pass from one culture to another, they change their form and language as they are absorbed by local character, tradition, and customs. In this sense, then, John Stone reminds us of the old Latin proverb, Si duo dicant, idem non est idem. That is, if two languages say the same thing, it is not the same thing. At the same time, there are also nearly in all cultures many racist and sexist proverbs that are deeply offensive. For example, the Italian proverb, lilies are whitest in a black Moor's hand, or the Japanese, beat your wife on the wedding day and your married life will be happy. Minike Skipper has written about how a study of proverbs on women across cultures helped to explain how and why sexual differences have resulted in a growing gap between men and women, and how that has led to the absence of the idea of sharing both public roles and responsibilities at home. The German proverb says it all. One makes the bed and the other lies down in it. Back at home, Indian tradition, both oral as well as written, is rich with proverbs. For instance, in a book on proverbs of folklore of Kumaon and Garhwal, written by Pandit Ganga Dutt Upreti way back in 1894, I found these fascinating gems. Jak Billy ni tak Musa nachni. When there is no cat, mice dance. Meaning that people are liable to go wrong when there is no control whatever over them. Or, Sadi shikar masure ki dal barabar ke niho. Is not even rotten meat better than masoor dal? Meaning that ability, even though of an inferior kind, is better than incompetence. So friends, be with me in my journey as I explore the rich treasures of proverbs across India and the world on Galp Lok. We'll meet you again next week. Do come back, as the French say, a little absence does much good, or the English, absence makes the heart grow fonder.